as well? I think it
You can do
records
that.
at both ends. If you record it at both ends, then I'll stay in after, and then you should get my copy as well.
I think I've already started the recording, but if you want to start recording, you can do that too.
I don't
I
have
don't know. Will it have any interference or anything? I really don't know about that.
I'm fine. Mine doesn't have any buttons, so.
Okay. Okay. So, namaste, Isabella. And welcome to Holistic Conversations. And I'm so glad that we met in Syria, from where we do our podcast. And I'm really excited to you about your next family. And welcome. And yeah, I would also like to say that people from you continue your event and where you come from. Over to you.
Mamina, I can't hear you. The sound's coming in and out, and it's all blurry.
Blurry?
The sound is blurry. You're not blurry. The sound is, so I can't
Okay.
actually hear properly what you're saying.
Okay, let me check. Audio. Speaker. Can you hear me now better?
That's better. That's much better.
Okay. Okay. So we have to do it again. Welcome, Namaste, Isabella. Welcome to Holistic Conversations. And I'm really very excited to talk to you about your journey and your life. Just a little bit about Isabella. She is a health and wellness advisor. She lives in the UK. And we met through StreamYards. We are doing our podcast. It's a person. And I'm also trying to find StreamYard for making this happen. And yes, Isabella, so beautiful. No? Might feel like sending a good over to you. We are able to listen to you. Yes, please.
Okay, so as you just introduced me as a health and wellness coach, my journey starts a long, long time ago. It starts about 45 years ago, actually, in a little tiny village in the middle of rural Britain. You know, I grew up around fields, animals, rivers. I mean, I wasn't your normal child. I was hiding in trees. I was going on discoveries. I spent most of my time with the animals. And when I was 10 years old, it was summer. It was a really hot summer, and I didn't really have much to do. So at the time, we had a soda deliverer called Corona, and they were running a campaign for World Wildlife Fund to save the pandas. So that entire summer, I spent every second I had free ripping the labels off the pop bottles to raise money to save these pandas. And it didn't stop there. The next thing, it was Amnesty International. The next thing, it was Greenpeace. And by the time I was 16, I was chaining myself to army barracks in, you know, campaigning for nuclear disarmament. And it was there that I started to think about, what's the meaning of life? Are we supposed to live healthy, happy together with animals and the environment? Or are we supposed to just exist as humans? And so fast track a few years to 1995, and I've got 2 children, one who's autistic, and I need a safe job. So I go and work for an organization, and I work in an office, and it's soul destroying. It's like pulling teeth. It's like pulling your entire soul through your skin, 9 to 5 every single hour of the working day. And when you consider that the average Westerner works 1,950 hours every single year, which is about 95,500 in a lifetime, that is a lot of time to be unhappy. whether it's because you've got a terrible boss, because you don't like your work or your colleagues or the environment, whatever reason it is, it's a very long time not to be happy. So I'd got this connection with the animals, I'd got the connection with the environment, and the only thing I didn't really have a connection with was health at the time. So I went off to learn how to be a gym instructor, and I started teaching people how to train. And then I branched out and I started learning how to eat properly, how to teach people how to eat properly. And this grew. So along the boring 9 to 5 soul destroying job, I'd got this elevating role as well, where I could lift people out of upset, anxiety, and depression. I could help them achieve their goals like weight loss or hormone imbalances, or just, general not quite connected to who they were supposed to be quite yet. So if we fast forward to 2019, I leave my job, soul destroying job, and I start a health practice. And obviously it's a new practice, so I can't just start and throw everything in. I've still got children to support, I've still got a lifestyle to support. So the only thing I really knew was marketing, health and marketing. So I started a marketing agency and a health coaching business alongside each other. And in August 2023, I was sitting by the pool in Greece and I'm thinking, I can't keep running these two businesses. What the heck? I need to merge. What can I do? And that's when, 5 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible to ask AI what I should do. But August 23, I sat by the pool on ChatGTP asking all these questions. What can I do? These are my passions. This is how I think. This is what makes me happy. How can I add extra value and input to the world? And ChatGTP said, corporate wellness. Corporate wellness. Corporate and wellness in the same sentence. It doesn't make any sense. So we kept channeling away for the whole week. And when I got back, I got myself a coach, because everybody, no matter who they are in life, needs a coach. People like Serena Williams, they have 8 coaches. Even Tony Robbins has a coach. He's the best of the best. He still has coaches, because we all need people to hold us accountable. So there I am with this coach saying, right, marketing, wellness, corporate wellness, how do I move this forward? And she said, no problem, we can do this. It'll take less than a year. Let's take steps A, B, C, D, E. And then in December/January, I launched. And I thought, this finally happened. And it's been a long journey, and the journey is much longer than I'm at now. But, people like Gary Vaynerchuk, they weren't an overnight success. He spent 25 years selling football cards and wine before he actually became a marketing guru, if you want to call him a guru. But the other thing is, what I've taken from this journey is, be you. Don't disconnect from yourself, be you. And we all tend to lose ourselves somewhere along the way. And we become this person we don't recognize. And that's one of the problems with society today, especially in the workplace. You conform to a role, you conform to what's expected of you, and you lose yourself. So the takeaway from that journey is that whatever you were doing when you were 9 or 10, whatever made you happy then, is probably what's going to make you happy now. So if you were pretending to make ice creams in an ice cream van on the beach in sunny Britain or wherever, maybe you're sent to serve people. Life's not black and white.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just loving listening to you and the way you are reflecting your learning. The journey is so important. So our experience is important, and what we are taking away from it, we are also learning. We cannot separate our experience and what we are taking away. So experience is very vital. That is the platform getting this. foundation where we find ourselves, where we lose ourselves, and then we realize that when we start finding ourselves. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I really appreciate you saying about your childhood, like when you were saying in the nature and the wild and animals, and you got enough time and you start you animals are being friends with them. It's a nature, by nature. It's a true nature. So that was learned for you, right? From there, it started to find everything. So very important for us is actually nature and learning that you know what's very, very important. And as you said, you're going to harness yourself and then there's no motivation because you already lost yourself and then suddenly you started going to the gym and you saw the difference that people were making out in their life after meeting you or you learning them. And that's where you found yourself and what to do. So, and congratulations for launching your own business. And say, you know, the business, it's more like a service. Yes, there is business involved, but predominantly it's service. The mindset, you know, service mindset. Of course, we need money, but then that mindset, the intention is service. So that's beautiful. And tell me something more about your experiences after. When the women, I would regularly ask this question, like, how difficult it was for you to tell a person when to do at the same time that I am launching this. I am going to do this. I just want to hear something about that experience of you becoming more stronger, more empowered, more convinced, and more believing in yourself that I'm going to do that. Let's hear a little bit about that experience.
So we all have this thing inside us that, you know, we all feel it to different degrees throughout our lives. You know, when we're kids, we're really confident. I don't know any child that 18-month-old child or younger that stood up to its parents and said, you know what, I don't feel like I can walk today. You know, that child constantly gets up and keeps trying, falls down, gets up, keeps trying, and keeps trying until it can walk. And it's not until we start going to school and society sets in and we start worrying about what people think about us and we're told to sit down, shut up and do as we're told, that these limiting beliefs, easy for me to say, these limiting beliefs start to embed themselves in us. And as we get older, we lose our identity, but we also have these beliefs holding us back. So when you do some work on those limiting beliefs, find out where they came from and backtrack and do the work on them, you can actually propel yourself forward. But you can also help to propel yourself forward by not just manifesting what you want in life, but taking the actions you need to take one step at a time, because the mountain's too high to climb. One step at a time. You take the actions you need to take to get to where you want to be. And when I thought about this corporate wellness thing, I thought, whoa, not a chance can I do this. This is like way too big. And they're up there. The corporations are up there and they've got this education, that education, the other education. They don't really care about who I am, what I wear, what I look like, what I sound like. They want to know, can I fix their problem? And yes, I can fix their problem because I've been through a lot of the situations that they have to deal with. I've been one of those disengaged members of staff. I've been in a team as a leader trying to motivate disengaged teams. I've been working in environments that are not conducive to good health. I've been working on ideas that nobody else gets because I'm too ahead of the game. I've arrived at the end goal before other people are even ready to start. I know that people are not going to take care of themselves. A lot of people are just surviving. They're just trying to get through the next day. And the last thing they want is their employer to come along and say, right, you're going to do a fitness plan. you're going to start eating healthy, you're going to go to yoga, you're going to do this. No, I don't do that. That's not what corporate wellness means to me. Corporate wellness to me means we take the organization as a structure and we change the structure and the culture of the organization. So corporate wellness is part of the fabric of the organization and not an add-on. So for instance, disengaged staff. When I was a disengaged staff member of the workforce, I wasn't a member of the workforce. I was an individual. I suffered every day. I had anxiety just waking up in the morning, thinking about going to work. And it was not again. And on a Sunday night, I would panic because I've got to go there Monday. And I had to pull myself through this and figure out, what am I going to do? And it's okay for people to say, get a new job. You can't just get a new job. It's not how the world works. And 70% of people in the Western world are in the wrong job. And it would be great if we just paired the right person to the right task, but employers don't do that because everybody's got a contract, everybody applied for this job, and this person's on this amount of money and this person's on that amount of money. But if you blend the roles, if you blend the jobs, say for instance, if you've got somebody that's really creative and you put them in a finance team, what? No, they're not going to flourish. They're going to be disengaged unless you let them be creative in modeling the finance. And every job has the potential to be creative. Every job has the potential to be academic. Every job has the potential to be what that job needs you to be. And every individual has the potential to fit their job if the corporate structure is right. So I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about, how do I get corporations from this point to this point? And I remembered a famous quote. It's, no man is an island. You got to take other people with you. So one of the things Tony Robbins says all the time is, it's not what or how, it's who. Who can you take on this journey? So I spoke to my coach and she said, good question. Who can you take on the journey? What skills do you need? And what's lacking? So I wrote it all down and I started contacting people. I'm like, do I have a team now that can do absolutely everything that I need them to do? And yes, I do. I now have a team that can do everything. And they're all intertwined. So their roles overlap. What they can do overlaps. And they're fine with that because it's not a culture of, that's my job, and if you do my job, they'll make me redundant. There's none of that. It's, we work together as an holistic team to the end point that we make people better. We make people healthy. We optimize businesses. And in return, the businesses get to grow their profits. You know, I don't think any business person woke up in the morning and goes, I'm going to be really horrible to my employees today. I just don't think that happens. But sometimes that is the net effect of what happens, because they're out of touch with what needs to happen. So back to your question, you know, what pulls you through it? What can you do to make sure that you become the best person that you can be, and you get over what the problem is reconnect with who you really are and figure out how you can add value to the world, how you can add extra value. So if somebody's paying you £5,000, for instance, how can you give them 7,000? How can you give them what they really need? Not what you think they need, but what they really need. And when you start to think more about the person, the customer, the client, you start to build yourself up and pull yourself out of that as well. So life's a journey, business is a journey, health is a journey. It's all interconnected. And when we start to think about the bigger picture, things get much easier.
Beautiful. The more I'm hearing you, the more I'm hearing how you are bringing everything together. It's more of the holistic approach, you know. Business is not just defined by money. Yes, there's money, but as you rightly said, that the person you are working with, do you know your client, what he really wants? Are you able to serve them with your heart and mind? It's not about only just throwing your paycheck. It's more than that. Like working collectively, you know, as a team and understanding the person as a human being, I would say, as a human being. And with all your humanness, you know, here comes the humanness, and we are more expanded when we are treating everybody as human and capable human. Of course, we have flaws, but then it's all blended together. Like living, it's collective approach. I love it. I just love it. And I would also like to ask you about you launching your some spirit spirit. Would you like to talk something about that? To empower women or entrepreneurs? Are you able to hear me?
Say that again. I couldn't quite hear that.
Yeah, I was talking about your program that you are planning to launch that is called Spirit.
Type it in the chat because it's not clear.
Okay. Okay. Chat. Spirit. Your program.
About being spiritual.
Your program that you are launching for the women entrepreneurs or something like that for empowerment. I saw in
Oh,
the
spirit framework.
framework. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay. So when I started the health coaching business, I primarily did it for women over the age of 40. And the reason for that was because I was over 40 and I had a few problems. I got menopausal problems, I'd got weight gain problems, anxiety, and depression from the work situation that I was in. And I thought, how can I create a framework that solves all of these problems in the easiest route possible? And how can I give people some steps to take that are going to get them from where they are now to where they want to be, but not in a hard to do fashion, not in a, oh, here's a training course and go away, do it yourself and get no results, or here's a hard training course, I'm going to hold you accountable and you're going to turn up all the time and you're going to do X, Y, and Z and I'm going to be Sergeant Major. I didn't want any of that. What I wanted to do was build a framework that enabled women to become the best version of themselves, whether that was best mother, the best wife, the best employee, the best fitness instructor, whatever that woman wanted to be, but to be the best version of herself. And I wanted to give her the steps that she could take. And the reason I knew how to do this was because I'd done it. I spent years and years doing it and, you know, crossing out the bits that didn't work and then going back to the bits that did work. And then I realized it wasn't just about health. It wasn't just about mindset. It wasn't about limiting beliefs. It was the next step as well. So if you're in a job that you really don't like and you're trapped in a marriage that you don't want to be in and your kids have left home and you're bored and you don't know what to do, maybe the next step is to take that energy, set up your own business and do what you love. So if cooking, if baking cakes is what you really like to do, be a baker. But set yourself up in a business, give yourself that sense of purpose and move through your goals. So your initial goal might be, I want to lose 10 pounds so I feel good in my skin. Then I'll be able to think a bit clearer. Then the next step might be, I can think a bit clearer now. I've lost these 10, but I've got no idea of how I get from here to here. And a lot of women actually nowadays, social media is growing so fast. It's full of information. It's full of buy this tool, that tool, this training course, that training course. And then you buy them and they don't work. And the reason they don't work is because they're just sticky plasters. They don't actually give you the step-by-step process to how you can actually become who you want to be. So that was the framework that I wanted to create. And with all the marketing experience behind me, all the administrative experience and the business administration experience, I could actually give women that skill that they needed as well. So it wasn't just the health and wellness, it wasn't just the mindset shifts, but now we're moving into entrepreneurship. So now these women could think, hold on, now I can see clearly. I know where I'm going. I'm not scared to leave that husband. I'm not scared to leave that job. I don't have to be bored in the house anymore. I can join community groups and be who I am. And, it's giving people that whole framework, but it's a step-by-step process. And there are 6 steps in the process because there are 6 aspects of our life. And each step is about perfecting that step for you, not for your friend Sharon or your mother, but for you. And once you've perfected that step, then you can move on to the next step and the next step and the next step. And it doesn't matter if it takes you a year to do step 1. We don't do a 3-month payment plan of 10,000, or you can borrow my services for 90 days for 5,000. I don't like all of that stuff because people develop at different speeds. And I know that I've been with coaches who've said 90 days for £10,000, and at the end of the 90 days I thought I knew more than I did now before I came on the course. I mean, what's that all about? But over the past, since 2019, when I left my job, over the past 4.5 years, I have learned so much. I figured out where my gaps were, and I learned. I went off and hired the best in the industry to teach me. And when I say hired, it didn't always come down to money. I mean, I'm a bit cheeky. I'm a bit like, I'll call you, I'll email you, I'll call you again, I'll email you again, and then you'll just eventually give in. And I've had some great mentors, absolute fantastic mentors that, they've been the CEOs of £120 million industries. And I've emailed them and texted them and say, can I have some help? I know you're the best in the industry. Can I have some help? And they're like, I don't have time. I'm way too busy. You don't have 5 minutes for me. What about on the conversation? I've got you on the phone now. Can you answer a question? And they're like, go on. And I suppose I'm wearing them into the ground, but for a good end purpose. And what I always promised myself was all of that information that I was gathering, I was going to give it to other people. I think it cost me something like 70, 80,000 to get to the point where I am now, just in the last 2 or 3 years. But I'm going to package that information in something that's not that amount of money, something that's going to make people think, I can get from there to there 6 months or a year. It's not going to take them 4 or 5 years because I've already done all that hard work for them. I've already made all of those mistakes. In fact, I've made 26 years worth of mistakes. I can catalog everything. But people value their time more than they value their money. And when you can give them their time back and you can give them the ideas and the tools, they appreciate it much better. I'll give you an example. I went on a training course, an AI training course with a really famous AI trainer. And I'd evaluated the situation before. And I went on the course and learned absolutely nothing because they didn't clarify the client. They didn't make sure it was pitched at the right level. So when I created this framework, I'm making sure it's pitched at the right level to the right people. So the right people get access to the information they need when they need it. And I just thought, stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about your client. And that's exactly what I did. That's how the framework was created. I thought about them, the old me, the person I used to be, not the person I am now. And I think that's what we all should do, really. Just think about who we used to be and how we can get your client from that point to where you are now or beyond.
Beautiful. It's such a natural thing, right? We lose ourselves and we are reflecting. Where did I leave myself and catching up to that? That is the path, and it's so natural. I love how you explain. It's just an intention to what I have learned, pass it to the other, so the other can have a better life. It is for the goodness of the other. So beautiful. It was wonderful to know your thought process behind your framework, and it's more valuable when you were saying that. Well, I just think of myself, my own self. It's a little very personal when you said that sentence. Like, well, why did I think about me, where I was, and now where I am? And drawing that from your personal experience, you have really created this framework. And thank you for also sharing that you will have a time limit or financial limit, like you do this, then you will that. And you have taken into consideration that every person has their own way of accepting things and changing and transforming. So that is very much open to everybody who is thinking themselves that 6 months things cannot change. So you step open for them, those who want to maybe go slow, take it easy, uh, go in their own pace, and that's very
And
amazing.
we all need to remember as well that we are not the same person that we were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And we're not even the same person that we were yesterday. And I've found that a lot of people don't become the person that they're supposed to become because of fear. And for me, fear is just false evidence appearing real. It's not a thing really. It's just us saying, this happened to me in the past. I'm very scared that it might happen in the future. But when you live in the now, when you think about the now, the past is not a thing and the future is not a thing. So in the now, you can be anything that you want. In the now, you can do anything that you want. You can become anything you want, and you can achieve everything that you want to achieve. Now, you might have not the skills to do that, or you might not have the environment or the people around you to do that. But you do have the knowledge within you to achieve the next step. Now, a lot of us, we don't push through that comfort zone. We have a problem with pushing through the comfort zone. And the problem is we're safe when we know what we're doing. The comfort zone is a very, very scary area to be in, because when you live in the comfort zone, you don't push beyond your boundaries. When you push beyond your boundaries, it's uncomfortable. It's not something you like doing. It's not a nice feeling. But in order to grow, in order to develop, you need to go past your comfort zone. And I can guarantee that every time I've gone past my comfort zone, I look back and think, what the heck on earth was I worrying about? It was just not worth the worry. I could have done that easily. But, we're back to those limiting beliefs again. Based on past experience, I didn't think I could do it. But we can all achieve everything if we just live in the now.
Beautiful and very, very radical living in now, and you have experienced it. So that's really a testament, like the way you have uh, came to this point in your life. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I would also like to ask, about, how how do you practice your spirituality? Do you have any space? Do you have something in your mind or in your heart, or how is spirituality practice in your life?
Well, for me, it comes in the form of daily meditation. So I meditate every morning before I even get out of bed. So my morning ritual goes like this: wake up, go to the loo, obviously, drink some water, get back in bed, do the meditation, ease into the day. Don't throw myself into the day, ease into the day. And then when I've done the meditation, I write in my gratitude journal, because you have to think about all the good things in your life before the day starts. A lot of people, they listen to the news, they listen to the radio, they read the newspapers the second they get out of bed. Some people don't even get out of their bed before they're on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and whatever else it is out there. But the best practice to be a whole person, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and mentally, is to meditate or do some form of mindfulness that makes you go inwards, that makes you, feel free from the world, even if it's just for 5, 10, 15 minutes a day. But I personally do 15, 20 minutes in the morning and then an hour before I go to sleep at night. And, when you do it at night as well, your brain gets to process that information that you've just meditated on. And the outcome over a period of time is progress. It's not stalemate. It's not worrying about the past. It's not worrying about the future. It's progress. That's what you think about daily. And you start to think about people more, animals, and the environment for me more. And you start to think about the bigger picture. And it's taking it away from you. You no longer focus on what you're not good at or what you can't do or whether you look old or wrinkly or fat or glasses or, whatever it is, your accent, whatever it is that's the problem that's bothering you. When you start to be look inwards and go spiritual, you start to not bother about those things really. It's not important anymore.
Yes, it's not important at all. Everything that is important is not the one that's inside us and how we process things. And as you said, I love how you said, like, we think more about people, environment, animals, and the nature, basically, the nature and its own natural form. And we start relating to nature, like the sunlight, the moon, the trees, the lakes, and the rivers, and the mountains. Um, it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and inspiring so many of us today.
Just before I go, I'd like to say it's something that happened to me the other day. A parent asked me, oh, what's wrong with the kids today? And I said, where do you want me to start? And she said, the nice bit. Start with the nice bit. So I said, they don't go outside anymore. They don't connect with nature. They're wrapped up indoors, in the dark, on the phones, with tunnel vision focus. They just don't go out and play. If you want your kids to be happy, healthy, and balanced, send them out to play every day that you can, especially when the sun's shining. And rickets is on the rise again in the West. This is because they're indoors. Anxiety, depression, if you're in the dark doing one thing, go outside, play in the trees, play in the rivers, get dirty, kick a football, and don't worry about it. That's what we did when we were kids, and I'm sure our grandparents did and our great-grandparents, and we just didn't have the levels of anxiety, depression, ADHD, and whatever else it is out there now. So reconnect with nature, whether you're a child or an adult. Reconnect with nature.
Beautiful. I think that's where we are going to end it today with this beautiful message. Connect to nature, your true nature, and answer nature. Thank you so much, Isabella. It was wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been great talking to you again.
It's wonderful. And recording that.